the final volume of the original Sandman series, Volume 10, The Wake. This volume collects issues 70 to 75 and also a short story uh, published in Vertigo Jam number 1, which is a Vertigo anthology meant to introduce series to readers. And this volume starts with that short story with art by Kevin Nolan, but which is of absolutely no interest to the overall narrative. It is really just an introduction of Morpheus and his servants to someone who might not be aware of the existence of the series. And then we have the 5 final issues of Sandman, and I have to say that I feel this volume to be very uninspired and in a large way very unnecessary even. The art is beautiful. The first 3 issues, so issues 70, 71, and 72, and also 73, have art by Michael Zulli, which is very, very nice. It's painted directly over the pencils with no inking, and it's actually very fitting to the story. But I feel this entire volume really wasn't necessary. The story could have ended in the previous volume, in the Kindly Ones, just with a few tweaks to the finale of that volume. But these first 3 issues are not the real problem. They consist basically in the wake for Morpheus and his funeral. In the first of these issues, the other Endless and the other people who met Morpheus get aware of his death and are brought to his wake. And then in the second issue, we go through many of those characters and the way they are dealing with Morpheus' death. And in the third issue, it's really his funeral. And these are not spectacularly made. They are all right. They don't feel very inspired. Neil Gaiman is not at his best, I think, but there are still some interesting things going on. The main protagonist of these stories is Matthew, and Matthew is a cool character indeed. He works in the overall narrative a little bit as the reader. He is the one who questions Morpheus' actions often, and he is the one who asks questions about what is going on, and his relationship to Morpheus is very close to what the average reader feels. He likes Morpheus, he has some kind of devotion to him, but he is also aware of how cold and distant and awkward his master can be. And although he really, really likes Morpheus and would love to be his friend, he he can't consider himself as a friend, because he never felt the same feelings, or very rarely he felt Morpheus considered him as highly as Matthew would like to. And I stopped here because I really, really like Despair. From all the Endless, she is the character I find the most interesting. I really dig Despair. And then in this issue 72, a lot of characters have some final words about Morpheus, and we see him departing, his body departing in a boat, as if in a Nordic ritual, and we see Daniel starting to connect with the other characters, and Daniel has brought to life almost all those who were killed during the events in the Kindly Ones. But maybe the most interesting thing is that ourselves, the reader, are included in the narrative. There are a few instances where the text includes the reader in Morpheus' wake and funeral, and that's interesting. But this would be a very fitting and definitive finale to the Sandman series, and it could have ended before, but ending here in this page in issue 72, it would be a nice finale. Nothing extraordinary, but very fitting and nice. But then we have 3 extra issues which I feel serve no purpose at all. Here, still with Michael Zulli's art, we have a story on Hob Gatling, the man who refuses to die, and he is visiting a Renaissance fair, a Renaissance festival reenactment with his new girlfriend, and he gets drunk, falls asleep, is visited by Death, who confirms him of Morpheus passing away, and proposes or asks Hob if he doesn't want to die also, and Hob refuses, and that's basically it. I get that it shows how much Hob appreciates life with all the good and bad things that make part of it, but it serves absolutely no narrative purpose to the overall Sandman story. And then we have issue 74, Exiles, with art by John H. Muth, which is a story about a Chinese advisor to the emperor who is exiled to a far part of China, or the empire, and he gets lost in the same desert which we have seen in the Marco Polo story, the same Asian desert, which is kind of a transition between the real world and the world of dreams, and is a place lost in space and time. And here he meets Morpheus, and he also meets Daniel further along. So this story serves as kind of a transition between Morpheus and Daniel, but again, this is very generic and random, and this is not something that really contributes to the finale of the series. It could have been introduced almost anywhere else in the series, or it's just not necessary. So I'm not sure, but probably Gaiman was obliged to fulfill 75 issues, and the kindly ones were already very overextended. Those 12 issues, I think, could have been made just into 9 or 8 of them. It was a bit overextended. And these last 3 issues are just fill-ins, really. And the series ends with issue 75 here, which has art by who? I can't remember. Charles Vess, sure. And the art is very nice again, and it's the second installment of the Shakespeare deal. So Shakespeare had previously presented Morpheus A Midsummer Night Dream, and now it's The Tempest. But again, this could have been a story placed in any other volume, and I just don't think it is suited to be the final story of the series, the end of the series. So I was quite disappointed with this 10th volume. I was expecting the finale to be much more impactful, and I feel quite disappointed indeed. I will leave my overall thoughts and impressions and appreciation of the series, of the whole series, to a future video. So maybe my next video will be that one, and I will chat a bit about Sandman and what I feel of it, what influences it shows, and what other works it influenced, and what more comes to mind. So, thank you for watching, and until then, bye bye.